be now. I don't know. Hey, if you need a reminder of how you can win points for the HSM Cup for next week and the rest of the night, if you bring a first-timer, you get a lot of points for your team. If you simply show up to HSM, you get points for your team. If you bring a physical Bible, you get points for your team. We have a memory verse on the back of the whiteboard outside if you missed it tonight, too late. But at the end of service tonight, while Adeline and I are handing out stickers for the service, for the series, you can meet your team leader up here, and if you can quote the memory verse to them, you get points for your team, okay? Next week, you'll have a chance to do that as well, so be sure to bring your Bible, show up, bring a friend, and I would love for this room to be packed out next week for the first week back at school. And you know what? Let me go ahead and say that. This is not a part of my message, just something I'm praying through right now. Summer is a really fun season for ministry. I love that you guys are out of school and we get to do a lot of things. We get to go to the beach sometimes and have fun, and summer camp's a blast. But can I be honest with y'all? Like, you guys know this. If you go to school, even if you go to a Christian school, there are people in our schools and in our friend group and in our families that need Jesus, right? And back to school is a great chance for you guys to invite your friends. My prayer is that we outgrow this room. I would love for us to get so big at HSM that we don't even fit in here. Okay, but in order for that to happen, you guys got to invite your friends. So next week's a great chance for you to do that. Invite your friends, get free shaved ice, and we're going to have a lot of fun next week. But hey, tonight as we close out this series, if you've missed the first few weeks of this series, I encourage you to go back and check it out. But I'm really excited about tonight's topic because it's something that I think a lot of us struggle with. I have struggled with this, and honestly, I think even as an adult, as someone who's been a Christian for their whole life, like, this is something that I still struggle with from time to time. And it's something that it's really important that we discuss and we talk about. But before I get into it, I want to tell you about a time when I was probably around 9 or 10 years old. I was young, but I was old enough to remember it. At that point in my life, basketball had become my favorite sport. I was still playing a bunch of sports. I was playing football. I was running track. I was on the swim team. But basketball was my favorite sport. And at the time, I was young enough that I was playing in this league that, can I be honest with you, like, the league was not competitive. Like, I think it was called Upward. And it was a Christian league where it's basically kind of like a little kids basketball league. And it was one of those leagues that you've probably played in one of this before when you were a kid, of like, everyone's a winner, right? You ever played in a league like that before where it's like, yes, like, we keep the score, but everyone gets a little trophy. In fact, so much so that at the end of each game, I remember the teams would gather together and every player on your team would get a star that represented something. So they give out, like, the white star was like most Christ-like or like best attitude. There'd be like the most coachable. They're like the best effort. There'd be like all this stuff. I always got the best offense. And it wasn't really because I was even good at basketball. It was just because everyone else was so bad. I remember I was good at basketball, but I wasn't that great. But I remember I was so good for this league that my coach, he had a signal that if he gave me the signal, it meant that I was allowed to score. He had to give me permission because it was like either I passed the ball or like we score. Like, that was kind of the options. And I'm not telling you that to say that I was this magnificent basketball player. It was just like I was too good for the league that I was playing in because it wasn't a very good league. And so that year ended, and I remember my dad gave me two options. He gave me two options. He said, you can either stay in this league and you'll be the best player. You'll be the best player as long as you're in this league. Or we can switch leagues, and you're going to play on a team that you'll be the youngest player, and you probably won't play very much, if at all. But it will make you a better basketball player. And I remember he asked me, he said, one day, do you want to play, our high school basketball coach at the time, his name was Coach Latch. He said, do you want to play for Coach Latch one day? I was like, I do. I want to be a starter. I want to be a team captain. He said, okay, you're not going to do it if you keep playing in this Upward league. And so I remember I had this option that as a kid, it was like, to be honest with you, like, I'm the best player in my league right now, and it's really fun. And I drop like 30 points a game, which I don't think I'll ever be able to do that again. So it's really fun, and like, it's easier. I don't even really practice much. Like, it's really easy. I literally had one move, and it was a crossover, and then I was like, layup. So I could keep doing that. Or do you ever want to be a great basketball player? If so, you're going to have to make a move. You have to go join this team where you're not going to be the best player. You probably will be the worst player on the team. You probably won't play very much unless your team is up by 50. But it will make you a better player. So I did it. I went and I made that adjustment, and let me tell you something, it wasn't as fun, but it was necessary. In order for me to become a better player, it was necessary. And the reason I tell you that story is because a lot of us still do this in our life today where we have gotten comfortable in a situation that we're in right now, and God has something bigger and better for us, but in order for us to grow into that, it's going to require us to do something that's uncomfortable. It's going to require us to leave something that we have grown accustomed to, leave something that we have gotten comfortable in, leave something, even if it's uncomfortable, it's just like, this is just the situation that I'm at. And God has something bigger, better, deeper for us to grow, for us to mature, for us to even maybe know Him more, for us to be healed, for us to receive freedom. The truth is that in order for us to become the person that God has called us to be, it's going to require us to grow out of the childish ways of our life. I like how Paul says it in 1 Corinthians 13:11. This is our memory verse of the night. It says, when I was a child, I spoke like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. But when I became a man, I gave up my childish ways. It's common sense, right? You want to be a man? Stop acting like a kid. It's funny, I've said this before and I mean it. Some of y'all are more mature than grown adults that I know. But at the same time, can I be honest with you? I know some junior hires that are more mature than some of you. Maturity is not an age thing. Maturity is a willingness to outgrow the things that are childish. My daughter, she just turned 2. For her whole life, she's been sleeping in a crib. She just got what we call a big girl bed. It's literally just a twin bed mattress on the floor so she doesn't fall out and like knock herself out. But she had to grow out of her crib. If she ever wanted to be a woman of God, she's not going to be able to be 16 years old driving a car and still sleeping in a crib, right? Right now she has diapers. Eventually she's going to have to get potty trained. And if you're here and you're still not potty trained, like it's time to make that move, okay? Right? But it's common sense that, hey, if I want to become a better man, a better woman, if I want to grow, I've got to outgrow my childish ways. So tonight I'm going to give you a few ways that I see us as Christians, myself included, that sometimes we have held on to childish things. And the first one is this, is that I think sometimes we rely on things that we shouldn't be relying on, right? Like, for instance, in high school, you guys probably rely on your parents less than you did when you were in 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, right? Hopefully, if you don't, like, it's time to grow up a little bit. But then again, when you get to college, you'll probably rely on your parents less than you do now. As your seasons change, you rely on something less and less, hopefully. If you're still a 25-year-old and you're relying on your mama to make your schedule and tell you what's for lunch, and mom, what time do I have to be at the dentist tomorrow? Grow up. Now, I'll be honest, I still call my mom, my dad. I'm like, Dad, how do I do taxes? No one taught me this, right? So there's still gonna be some moments where you're like, Dad, I need your help, right? But as we get older, as we grow in maturity, we need to rely less on our parents. I see adults rely on alcohol more than they should. Hopefully this is none of you guys because you're in high school. You shouldn't be drinking. But I see a lot of adults. Every single time they have a hard day, I just need a drink. Every time they're tired, I need a drink. Every time they're in a social interaction, I just need a drink. And it's like you are relying too much on something that you're never meant to rely on. A lot of us are relying too much on social media rather than our ability to connect with people. Like you're at a party, you're at a hangout with your friends, and instead of talking to people, you're like scrolling, you're checking the weather app because you're like, I can't be on my phone right now. I'm going to talk in a second about AI, but I think a lot of people rely too much on AI. We're talking about mental health, right? You say you struggle with depression or anxiety, you should be seeing a professional, and yet you just go to ChatGPT and you're like, what should I do? You rely too much on these things. As Christians, we need to understand that there are things in our life that might be okay to be in our life. They're meant to be an aid or support, but they're never meant to be something that we rely on. AI is a good example of this. A lot of people rely too much on AI. I went ahead and I actually did a little experiment. I didn't ever have an account with ChatGPT. I made one for this. And so he didn't know that I was a youth pastor. I basically said, hey, I'm leading, I didn't want to say that I was a pastor. I said, I'm leading a class, or I'm leading a lesson or something. I can't remember what I said, to teenagers about healthy and unhealthy habits when it comes to AI. what are some of the unhealthy ways that people use AI? And it gave me 10 things, and I just kind of want to quickly list these out so you can see these things. The first one, it says that too many people, especially teenagers, they let AI do the thinking for you, which is very true, right? Instead of using AI to help you learn, it becomes a shortcut. It prevents you from developing understanding, wisdom, critical thinking. It's instead of me thinking about what I believe, thinking about what does this mean to me? What do I want to believe about this? You simply just enter something into ChatGPT. It tells you what to think, and that becomes what you think. There's no more critical thinking. There's no more common sense. It's just whatever AI says becomes your thought. Second one, this one's obvious, using it to cheat or deceive. I know that's a very common one in school. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're going to end up getting a job one day that you're unqualified for because you have a degree, but you don't have any experience or understanding about what to do. Replacing real relationships. This has become more of a common one. Hopefully you guys aren't doing this, but it's become more and more common. Or instead of having friends, or instead of even going to spiritual leadership or to a professional in your life, guess what it does is you go to ChatGPT or whatever AI you use, and it replaces those relationships. When we rely on AI, we become intellectually lazy. This one's a big one for me. It makes answers easy to get, but easy answers don't always produce deep understanding. You know what I see? This comes out a lot with debates, right? A lot of people will copy and paste someone else's belief as their own because they're too intellectually lazy to do the research for themselves. Like, I'm against abortion because reasons to be against abortion because of this and this and this. Or I'm for abortion because of this and this and this. I'm for immigration because of this. I'm against immigration because of this. And let me tell you something. I see a lot of people who have strong beliefs about something that are not their own. They Googled something real quick. They sent it to AI. They got a response, and it has become their belief. Can I challenge you? Get an original thought for yourself. Research it. Pray about it. Think about it. What do I really believe about this? And by the way, I'll go ahead and tell you this. I would rather you have the opposite view of me, but it become authentic to you, than you agree with me on everything, but you don't have an authentic thought in your entire life. I get along with people who disagree with me when it's intellectual. When it's like, here's what I believe, and here's my experience, and here's my research. Like, okay, you know what? I disagree with you, but that's fair. But someone who's like, I disagree with you, but they can't talk about why, it's like, okay, that's intellectually lazy. Number 5, we believe everything that it says. This is a quote from AI. It says, AI is confident even when it's wrong. AI is wrong sometimes. I was talking to Adeline about this. She did this week. She was doing something for our team, and she put in some information. She's asked AI, hey, can you organize this into groups for me? And it gave the wrong list to her. Just one person was wrong on the list, but she noticed it and she caught it. She's like, hey, this person shouldn't be on the list. And AI was like, yeah, that's my bad. Seriously, you can ask her about it. AI isn't always right, and yet sometimes we just believe everything that it says. Do your research. Number 6, losing your own voice. It's a big one. It's sad, but it's funny to me. I know people in person, they can't carry a conversation. They can't ask questions. They can't answer my questions more than yes or no. And then when you text them, they become a poet. They're like, dude, they sound like they're quoting the Bible in their prayers over text, but in person, they can't pray in front of anyone. You know what it is? It's because they rely too much on AI. It's like you can lead a Bible study on social media because you have AI in front of you, but when it comes to a conversation about, hey, what do you think Paul is trying to say here? They're like, It's like, hey, maybe instead of relying so much on AI to speak for me, I need to develop my own voice, my own opinions, and my own beliefs, my own convictions, right? See what I'm saying? Real quickly, these last ones. Number 7, escaping reality. This one's becoming more and more. This is less with like ChatGPT, but more about just the way that AI is taking over social media and even video games. And it's just like we live in a pretend world. I know a lot of people that have friends online, but they don't have any friends in person. Hey, get you some real friends. Go get lunch with them. Put your phones away. Talk to them. Okay? Number 8, sharing too much personal information. This one's big. If you don't know this, if no one's ever talked to you about this, please don't share like financial information or your social security number or your health information, like just your address. Just don't do that, please, okay? Number 9, again, obvious one, creating harmful and inappropriate content. This one's big. By the way, this is something I pray that God protects all of my students from. I have, as a pastor, I can't share a lot of these, but I know several people who have been affected by AI pornography made of them in high school and used against them as blackmail. Be careful who you share stuff with. And also, if you are a part of that problem, man, I pray that the Lord has mercy on you. Just being honest. And number 10, this one was really interesting to me, is that we treat AI like God. Again, this is ChatGPT giving me these 10 things. I didn't tell ChatGPT that I was a pastor, but it said that one of the things that people do is they treat AI like God. Where instead of going to the Word of God, or instead of going to wisdom, or instead of going to a higher belief, because it was saying it's not just Christians, it's everybody, instead of going to a higher belief system or principles, they just go to AI. Hey, AI, how should I respond to this? Hey, AI, what should I believe about this? Hey, AI, I'm struggling. Should I go to college here or college there? AI may give you a lot of answers, but AI is not all-knowing. It's not all-powerful. It's not morally perfect. It's not wise. It's not worthy of our trust, of our praise. I just give you those examples because I think what I'm trying to get you to understand is this, is that as Christians, we need to stop relying on things that were never meant to be things that we rely on. Paul writes about it. He says that he's talking about a group of people, that they stopped worshiping the Creator for the creation. Stop relying on things when we should be relying on God. I'll go ahead and give you really, honestly, if you want to know, I'm not telling you that AI is evil. If you want to use it, just find healthy habits with it. I personally don't use it very often just because I don't like to, but I'm not against you using it, okay? But honestly, my biggest worry is this, is that a lot of people use AI to get information, but information is not the same thing as wisdom. And knowledge without wisdom is wasted. I know a lot of smart people who do not have wisdom, and it's a waste. Wisdom comes from the Lord. And if you are just getting knowledge from something without getting wisdom from the Lord, you're wasting the knowledge that you have. James 1:5 says this, if any of you lack wisdom, let him ask God, who gives generously to all without reproach, and it will be given to him. In other words, don't pursue knowledge without wisdom. Pursue wisdom. I would even say pursue wisdom over knowledge. Psalms 111:10. This won't be on the screen. This is a verse that I memorized in college. Psalms 111:10 says that the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord, and those who practice it have a good understanding. In other words, if you want to be wise, you want to know what to do and how to walk through this dark and confusing world, seek God. Stop relying on things when we should be relying on God. Is that fair? We got to outgrow our childish ways of relying on stuff when we should be relying on God. The next thing that we need to stop relying on comes when I think we get too comfortable I'm going to say, for a lack of better words tonight, in our brokenness. For a lot of us, we're talking about mental health in this series. A lot of us, we struggle with depression, we struggle with anxiety, maybe we struggle with addiction, maybe we struggle with OCD, with ADHD, we struggle with these things. And for a lot of us, God has something better for us. He wants to heal us. He wants to set us free. But we've gotten too comfortable in the thing that has become our identity. There's a moment in John chapter 5, I'm going to read it for you in just a second, but I want to set the stage here. Jesus enters into Jerusalem, and there's a pool there. It's called the Pool of Bethesda. I'll read about it in a second. But this pool, the people believed that if you got in this pool, when the waters were stirred up, that it would heal you. Whether there was validity to that claim or not, I don't know, but it's clear that there would be hundreds, if not thousands, of people who were sick, blind, deaf, mute, paralyzed, that would be there waiting to get in the water to be healed. And Jesus has an interaction with one of the men that was there. It's found in John 5:1-6. It says this, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. And there in Jerusalem, there was a sheep gate. Next to the sheep gate was a pool in Aramaic called Bethesda. And it's surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. By the way, I think that's a cool detail because this is actually a pool that has been excavated in Jerusalem. You can go and visit this pool, and it has 5 covered columns, which is really cool. But it says there was a great number of disabled people the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. And there's one who was there who was invalid for 38 years. It means he's been paralyzed for 38 years. And Jesus saw him lying there, and he learned that he had been in this condition for a long time. And Jesus asked him, look at this question that Jesus asked, do you want to get well? Do you want to get well? Other translation says, do you want to be healed? That's an interesting question. This guy for 38 years, maybe he was born like this, maybe he had an accident, but for 38 years, he's been paralyzed. And most likely, every single day, his family, whether it be his wife or his parents or his friends, would pick him up, carry him to this pool, lay him down on a mat, and he would beg for money, and then he would hope and wait for a chance to get into the pool to be healed. 38 years. And Jesus walks up to him and says, do you want to be healed? Which I think is a funny question, right? Imagine if I went to the hospital and there's people that are sick and dying, and I'm like, hey, do you want to be healed? It's like, duh, right? So it makes you kind of wonder, why is Jesus asking this question? Well, here's the thing. This man, although he probably was uncomfortable in a lot of ways, when he really thought about it, there was a lot of risk to being healed. The Jewish people were generous people. It's a part of their culture. In fact, it was a custom that if there was a blind person or sick or paralyzed, that they would give them money. It was a sign of virtue. It was basically like, it wasn't just like, oh, wow, that was so kind of you to give money. It was more so like, you didn't give that person money, you're a terrible person. Like, that's who they gave money. And he was one of the people that benefited from this. So for 38 years, he would go and he would beg and he would get money. His family was supported financially by him. So for him to be healed means that he no longer has an income. In fact, for 38 years, him being paralyzed, guess what? He wouldn't have been educated. He would have never been an apprentice. He would have never been trained in a profession. So basically, for him to be healed means that I lose my income and I have no resume to go get a job. I have no experience. I'm uneducated. I can't read. I have no training. It's a huge risk. Also, what if people start calling me a liar and demanding their money back? Like, hey, you're the guy that I've been getting money to for the last 30 years. Now you're walking around. You're such a liar. Give me my money back. Or what if they start making fun of me and saying that I'm just a fake? Or what if, I don't know, what? It might just, even though I don't like being paralyzed, it might just be easier to stay here. I think for a lot of us, we're in that situation where it's like, hey, I don't love being depressed, but for me to be healed means that I'm going to have to do some stuff that is difficult. I'm not able to use it as an excuse anymore. I know a lot of people that wield anxiety or depression as a weapon. Like, Mom, I don't want to go to school today because I'm feeling really anxious. And you know what? Sometimes that's authentic, but a lot of times I think it's just a shortcut to get out of something we don't want to do. Or what if the friends that I have, they know that I've been dealing with this for such a long time, what if they're not my friends anymore? Because they've only been friends with me to help me with this. What if people call me a liar? What if I don't get the attention that I get now? What if I have to go through, like I have to do work that I don't want to do? I don't want to go to a therapist. I don't want to go to counseling. Maybe you're dealing with addiction. You're like, I don't want to deal with the withdrawals and the headaches. And even though I don't like the shame that I feel when I watch porn, I like the feeling that I get when I watch porn. And so I think I'm just going to stay with it. Like, my point is this. I think a lot of us, we're in the situation as the paralyzed man where it's like we've been stuck in something for so long. And God is saying, hey, do you want to be healed? It might be uncomfortable to go through this process, but it'll be worth it. When I was playing in that basketball league, I was the best player. But it's like, you want to be a great player, you're going to have to leave and do something else. For a lot of us, we have just allowed, whether it be depression or anxiety or an eating disorder, to become our identity. And God asks the question, do you want to be healed? It won't be easy, but it'll be worth it. Another way to maybe ask the question that Jesus asked is, you know what it's like to be wounded. Are you ready to know what it's like to be healed? Are you ready to be a steward of the wellness that I can give you? You ready for this? I believe that God wants to heal you. He wants to set you free. He wants to see you grow into someone that you might not even know to be possible. But in order for us to do that, if we want to be healed, we need to accept God's help. And I know that might sound obvious, but for a lot of us, guess what? We say we want to be healed, but we're not willing to do the work. We say, God, I want you to give me a girlfriend. And God's like, all right, first you got to become a better man. Nope. It's like we want what God has to offer, but we don't want to do it his way. Like, God, I want to be healed, but then what about my money? Like, God, I want to have peace, not anxiety, but then I'm not going to be able to use that as an excuse anymore. I want to have joy, not depression, but then what if I'm having a bad day? I can't blame it on that anymore. I hope I'm not being too mean here. What I'm trying to say is I think if we want to be healed, we need to say yes to what God wants us to do. It requires surrender. It requires willingness to follow God. And that actually leads me to the third thing that I think a lot of us need to outgrow. It's a childish thing that we need to outgrow, and it's this. We say that we're committed to God. We say that we follow God. We say that we love him, but in reality, I think we're more committed to our comfort. Can I tell you something? If you want to grow, if you want to be healed, if you want to overcome something in your life, comfort is not really going to be a part of it for a while. I believe it will be more comfortable once you overcome it, but comfort cannot be the thing that you covet. Commitment to God's way is better than comfort in my way. If you're taking notes, write that down. Commitment to God's way is better than comfort in my way. A lot of us find comfort in our own way. It's interesting that pool, I'm fixing to close out, so if the band's ready, you guys can come on up and get ready, but that pool of Bethesda where that paralyzed man was, historians say that it was probably about the size of 2 football fields. There's actually 2 pools right there. And hundreds and maybe even thousands of people would be there waiting to be healed. And I don't know if it was a superstition or if it was mythological or what, I don't know. But it's funny. They're all there waiting to get in the pool at the right time to be healed. Jesus walks up. You know what's interesting? Jesus could have healed every single person there. Every single person could have healed them. But instead of looking to Jesus who could have healed them, they were stuck in the comfort of their own way. They're like, this has been what we've done for decades. I'm just going to keep doing this. Because for me to go to that Jesus guy means that I'm going to have to change my beliefs. I'm going to have to change my life. I'm going to have to change my way. And so even though he can heal me, I'm too comfortable in my way. As Christians, to be a Christian doesn't just mean that you believe that Jesus exists. It means that you are committed to his way, even if it means giving up your comfort in your way. For some of us, that's sin. I think some of these things are simple, but we overlook them. It's funny, God calls us not to lie, and yet 2 of us have gotten so comfortable in telling little lies. I'll be honest with you, I got comfortable in that. I was the guy that procrastinated. I did my homework last minute. I literally remember in high school, my teacher was collecting homework and I was doing the homework. I got really good at it. But my mom would ask me the night before, hey, did you do all your homework? Yes, ma'am. And it wasn't even a second thought. I would just lie. That was comfortable. But as a Christian, you know what? That was wrong. If I'm committed to God, it means I'm not going to get comfortable in my way. I'm going to do what's right. I'm going to tell the truth. No, Mom, I haven't done it, but I will do it. And even if she makes me go do it, I'm going to do it. I'm not telling a lie. I'm not cheating. I'm not stealing. Slothfulness, laziness. A lot of us get too comfortable in that way. What if God's calling you to do something and you're like, I'm just not comfortable, so I'm not going to do it? If you're struggling with something that you've been struggling for a long time, maybe God is calling you, hey, I want you to go and see a professional and get help. I want you to open up to your life group leader about that struggle. I want you to tell your friend why you're mad at them. I want you to open up. I want you to forgive that person. I want you to stop drinking, stop smoking, stop watching porn. I want you to stop cussing. Such a simple thing, but it's like everyone does it. We're more committed to the comfort of my way than we are committed to God's way. I'll even say this. Don't call yourself a Christian if your comfort is more important to you than being committed to God. It's hard, but that's what it means to be a Christian, to say, God, it's your way, it's not my way. Romans 12, 1-2 says this. It says, I appeal to you by the mercies of God to present your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable God, which is your spiritual worship. I'm going to pause right there. Keep that verse up. What that verse is saying right there, what verse 1 is saying right there is this, is that my life is a form of worship. It means, God, I'm here for you. My life is for you. My way is for you. It's not my life, it's your life. God, let me live a way that is glorifying to you. Then it says, don't be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. That by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. What is it saying? It's saying, let yourself be transformed to step away from the childish ways into the things that God has called you to do. For some of us, these are big. For some of these are small. But I think for all of us, it's God, open my eyes to the things that I've gotten too comfortable in, that I need to change. I need to start telling the truth. I need to start forgiving more. I need to start paying attention to the way that I speak. I need to start controlling my thoughts more. God, is the person that I'm dating glorifying to you, or is it just because I like them? God, are the things that I'm doing in secret honoring and glorifying to you? God, it's not my way, it's your way. And God's asking, I think, a question, do you want to be healed? And in order for you to be healed, in order for you to be set free, in order for you to grow into the person that God wants you to be, in order for you to grow into the best version of yourself, it's going to require us to grow out of our childish ways and step into God's ways. Lord, I pray that you're with us tonight. Lord, I pray for every young man and woman in this room. Lord, I pray that you help us to grow, to mature, to step out of our childish ways. Lord, I pray that you help our minds to be transformed, renewed by you. Lord, help us to stop relying on the things of this world, but to rely on you and you only. Lord, help us to not get comfortable in what you're trying to heal us from or set us free from, our sin, our struggles, whatever it may be. Lord, help us to not be committed to our comfort, but committed to you. And I pray that as we do that, Lord, that we see breakthrough in our life, that we see healing, that we see joy, that we see restoration. I pray that I hear miracle stories because people just say, I'm committed to God's way, and it's not going to be easy, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to let God lead me. I'm going to let God change me. And Lord, I pray that we see breakthrough in their life. Right now, as no one's looking around, I'm going to ask everyone to bow their heads and close their eyes. Tonight, I believe that there are people in this room that you're like, you know what? That's me. I've gotten too comfortable in my way. I've stuck in this thing that I don't want to be stuck in anymore. Let me tell you something. If you're here